Young Thug, one of the most important voices of this rap era, dropped what felt like a surprise release. The rollout started with the surprising and mysterious QR code the week before he released, which left people confused, but what stood out most about it was the fact that rappers and producers were reposting it, distracting from the release of Gunna's album, A Blessing and a Curse. Speaking of which, when this album came out, social media felt as if we deserved and were expecting Young Thug to respond to Gunna or fire shots, when in reality that wasn't possible unless we got an album of bars over the phone, which of course we didn't get, besides Young Thug telling us on the intro track, Parade on Cleveland.
Oh, I ain't doing shit, man. Just pushing more Peter, more sweeter, more completer than any Peter pusher around.
Young Thug is one of the biggest artists in the world, and while it usually feels the world is always watching superstars, waiting to see if their album is good to say if they're great or if they're falling off if it's bad, it felt like the expectations of this album were all over the place because no one truly knew what to expect. We didn't get any singles, and we didn't know what to expect because he was in jail. With that being said, because he's in jail, this album had a lot of hype. We also got the Metro Boomin edition, which may change the public perspective on this project for better or worse. But the main storyline of this album was people wanted to see if this was going to be better or worse than Gunna's project. For me, when I heard Young Thug was dropping, I was excited just to get new music from him while he's in jail. With the star-studded feature list of familiar faces and production from Metro Boomin, how could you do anything else but be excited to hear what you may hear? But since he's locked up, it was hard to expect anything crazy, knowing it was likely we would get throwaways from before he got locked up from the YSL Rico case, which is what the album sounded like. We've seen better songs, songwriting, and creativity from Young Thug, especially considering what Punk, his last project, was. Punk was an album that sounded nothing else like what was out in the moment, or anything from his previous discography, and hasn't been a sound that's been necessarily replicated. Some people loved it, some people hated it, but everyone was able to acknowledge that Young Thug decided to get out of his comfort zone, which is always something to be respected. On this project, though, we got nothing that sounded new in the slightest, and he also tweeted that one of the songs was from 6 years ago, confirming what people were expecting, an album full of throwaways. Based off recent history and knowing who Young Thug is, I think it's fair to say if he wasn't locked up, we would never have got this project and we would have got a way more focused project. While Young Thug's known for creating genre-bending music, figuring out new ways to use his voice as an instrument, or trying things over some new production, the throwaways on this project sounded like something that could have been on Slime Language too. The features don't do it too many favors, and while it's always cool to see superstars working together, it feels like this pattern of seeing Young Thug and Metro Boomin working with Drake, Future, 21 Savage, Travis Scott, these specific artists, lose its special feeling. It just doesn't move people the way it used to, or at least it doesn't move me. Of course, it's great seeing friends work with friends. That's where some of the best work can be made due to the chemistry, but that just wasn't the case here. There are a lot of skips or songs that aren't memorable to me, and whether they're just straight up bad songs or songs that aren't anything more than just a song to throw on the aux, even though the same song has probably been made before but better. Also, Hoodie was one of the worst songs I think I've heard Young Thug make, and to me was the worst song on the album. The chorus was awful. Any verse that goes from talking about sex to Trayvon Martin is automatically not good, and some of the other choruses on this album were lackluster as well, like With the Racks or Abracadabra. I just wasn't fans of either of those, and also wasn't a fan of the outro with Nate. But I think my biggest problem with this project is I know Young Thug would have brought better if he wasn't locked up, but I'm also very sure he has better throwaways in the vault, and it seems people on social media would agree with me on that. There are some tracks on here that have production that I can't believe Thug decided to rap on, and majority of the tracks kind of have generic production. Young Thug also didn't try too many new things on this one, which of course we expected because it's an album full of throwaways, and there's a couple of lines that made me laugh just from hearing. It's upsetting to see all these big names on the project and not get any songs that make me feel like we're hearing some of Young Thug's best music. While there aren't too many standout songs in the context of Young Thug's career, there are some songs that I felt were great in comparison to the rest of the album. Oh You Went seems like one of those songs that could be Song of the Summer with just how smooth it is. It reminds me of the song he had on Metro Boomin and 21 Savage's Savage Mode 2, Rich Nigga Shit, which is also one of those songs to this day that I still play. I also enjoyed Hellcat Kenny, which I've heard with Lil Yachty's verse before, and I think I would have enjoyed it more with Lil Yachty's verse still on it. And one of the last songs I think that's worth highlighting is Jonesboro. I think the production with the way Young Thug formed his verses created a song worth remembering. It's a fun album that's hard to rate to begin with because he's locked up. With the roller coaster of expectations and real life situations, it's hard to figure this album out after we anticipated new music from one of the most important rap artists of this generation. What we got was a collection of throwaway tracks that didn't showcase how special of a talent Young Thug is, making it an album I don't think we will be revisiting often, even if he doesn't get out of jail. The features, although once impressive when looking on the track list, don't deliver the standout moments that we get when they're on other people's albums. I think about 21 Savage when he's with J. Cole. We didn't really get that type of 21 Savage on this album. That mixed with the kind of generic production for Young Thug standards created a disappointing project to me. Despite the disappointment, there are a few bright spots of solid production and songwriting. And it's hard to ignore the fact that Young Thug could have offered way better material because he has better songs in the vault that we've heard from leaks. But I'm confident saying Thug can and will do better if he does get out of jail. If I were to ignore all external factors that went into the album being released, I'd give the project a 5 or 6 out of 10. Not a failure, but it falls short of what Young Thug can do. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the album. Did you agree? Did you like one of the tracks I didn't mention? Let me know down in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.